Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of the Throwdown with myself. Yes, Chris Maloney, episode number 11. Hard to believe we're up to episode number 11. It is Thursday, April the 18th, 2024. Still in London, Ontario, Canada, of course. It is about 12 degrees outside right now. It has absolutely been nice this week. Exception of the rain a little bit earlier this week, but it's been a great week weather-wise. Haven't checked next week's weather, knock on wood. Not sure I want to, but if you're joining me for the very first time, thank you very much. This is episode number 11. If you are, I'm going to turn this. There we go. That's a little bit better. The headset sometimes is a little bit louder. So I'm just going to check one thing here with regards to settings. I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to throw anything off, but I just want to make sure. So I use StreamYard. And with regards to StreamYard, there's a lot of different settings that you can use. And one of them gives you the ability to automatically adjust the audio, which I find is better when I listen to post-show, whether it be audio or the video. Sometimes I've had it off. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I always go and check that there. So I just want to check it there. Everything looks good. Sometimes it throws me off because of the headset. I've got a fan on the background, as well as sometimes if the volume's too loud on the headset itself, then it throws everything off. But now I'm rambling. Minute and 49 seconds into the show, and I'm already rambling. But I like to have fun. I like to laugh at myself quite a bit. And speaking of that, NHL playoffs. Today is the very last day of the regular season for the NHL. I am an Ottawa Senators fan. I am also a New Jersey Devils fan. Both of my teams did not make it this year. Now, I say that, and you look at my cap, and you think to yourself, hey, you know what? He is probably a Boston Bruins. Heck no. I tried being a Bruins fan when Joe Thornton was there way back in the day. They screwed over Joe Thornton. He ends up going to San Jose, and that was the end of my Boston Bruins kind of tenure. Now, he was born St. Thomas, Ontario, which is about 20 minutes here, away from here in London. My ex ended up going to school with him at one point, so he's a great guy. Got to meet him once. A very friendly guy. I got some autographs to his someplace. But yeah, so anyways, at one point in time, yes, I was a Boston Bruins fan. Don't mind the Celtics. But I'm a Raptors fan. Love the Red Sox, have since 1994, and the New England Patriots. I grew up watching them on Sundays, and officially kind of, started being a real fan, I guess, the late 90s with the Pats, but all the way back to the days of Drew Bledsoe, so it wasn't just Tom Brady, it was Drew Bledsoe, and it was back to those old school kind of red and white uniforms that they used to have. So, yeah, huge New England Patriots fan. Been to Fenway, haven't been to Gillette. That is on my bucket list, but I've been to Fenway Park. Actually went down as a Blue Jays fan to Fenway Park for the very first time, came back a Red Sox fan in 1994, and the rest is history there. Anyway, NHL playoffs. Today's the last day of the regular season. Eastern Conference is set. So for anybody who's a hockey fan, Rangers, number 1, taking on the Capitals, number 8. Hurricanes taking on the Islanders. Hurricanes, number 2. Islanders, number 7. Panthers, number 3, taking on Lightning, number 6, and the Bruins and Leafs in the first round of the playoffs. Once again, number 4 taking on number 5. The Bruins being 4th place, the Leafs being 5th place. Western Conference to still be decided. Tonight's the final night of the season, and the Western Conference is still up for grabs. That being said, I feel bad. Phoenix Coyotes, Arizona Coyotes couldn't reach an agreement for a new arena. Glendale didn't want to invest any more money into it, and they are gone. So last night was their last, I don't know if they played tonight, but last night was their last game at home at least. And, fans were commenting on NHL.com, with regards to, hey, if they're back within 5 years, they'll support the team again. But to have a franchise, that long, and it kind of comes back to Canada here, due to the fact that the Winnipeg Jets, when they left, they went down to Phoenix, if my memory serves correct. So that was a long time ago. and then all of a sudden that franchise no longer exists. To see them come back as reincarnation, are they still going to be called the Coyotes? I don't know, but to see it come to an end, that sucks. And being a Devils fan, that almost happened 1993-94. I think it was might have even been 95 when they won the Stanley Cup. There's talks of them going to Nashville. I was like, man, this sucks. And anyway, it sucks that the Coyotes are pretty much done there in Arizona. Phoenix, I'd love to see them go back, but I don't know about their tenants. I'm a Sens fan. I know about their tenants, and Jersey, the Devils. They've been passionate hardcore fans there, but I don't know about the Coyotes' tenants. But to know that they've existed, I think 28 years. I think I saw that's a long time. So farewell to the Coyotes. Maybe we'll see them in a couple of years. CWM predicts UFC 300 Pereira versus Hill. Horrible predictions as far as I can think of. I haven't gone back and checked to see how bad I did, but I know some of the bouts I predicted on. Some of them I just know I absolutely sucked at. But whatever the case, I still got it out there. UFC 300 Pereira versus Hill. CWM predicts is out there. Social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, as well as audio. So check that out. My first time predicting UFC live on the air. And then I was saying the last show, I was thinking, well, hey, maybe I just do like 300, 305, 310. And then they announced the comeback of Conor McGregor for UFC 303. So forget about that. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing the fight nights, probably not. But I will aim to do all the UFC 301, 302, and you get my point there. And finally, opening notes, AZM. AZM is I pronouncing it all last weekend. Isn't AZM at all, or AZM. It's short for Azumi. They just shorten the name. So yeah, bad on me, but I finally learned that. So I will not be saying AZM ever again. It's short for Azumi. So it is Azumi from Stardom. So my apologies there. As I always do every show, anniversaries, birthdays. So anniversary UFC 97 Redemption. That took place on the 18th. So that was today, back in, where are we here? 2009. So UFC 97 Redemption took place at the Bell Center, Montreal, Quebec, in this date, 2009. Main event, can you guess? So Anderson Silva defeats Thales Leites. I've never heard that name before. Thales Leites. I want to say I pronounced that right, but Silva retained the UFC middleweight championship back there in 2009. Birthday today, or not today, not even tomorrow, on Saturday. Kyle Nelson. So Kyle the Monster Nelson was born in this date in 1991. And then birthday as well, Sam Stout on the 23rd. Sam Hands of Stone Stout. I got to learn to slow down. Born in this date in 1984. Got to meet him once at McCabe's here in London on St. Paddy Days many years ago. There's a picture that exists someplace on the internet, but friendly guy, and obviously we're drinking beers. Good times. But so that is every anniversaries and birthdays. So as I always do every show, tidbits and topics. As well, I'm going to warn people. I'm not necessarily a bad warning, but I'm going to say there is a lot of independent, so Canadian independent wrestling talk I do want to talk about towards later in the show. So if I'm not skipping through, but if I'm rushing through the tidbits and topics, because I'd like to be off in time for Impact Wrestling TNA Impact at 8 o'clock. So that gives me officially 52 minutes. So that'll be why. But enough of the rambling. Tidbits. UFC 117 fight between Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen to be inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame. That was announced on the 13th. So congratulations to those guys. That is part of the Fight Wing category for the UFC, taking place UFC International Fight Week in July. AEA 001. What does that mean? And so it begins. Chugs and Evil Uno present the All Elite Arcade podcast. So that officially came out this past Monday. That is available on YouTube, Spotify, as well as iTunes. So guys, check that out. Dustin Rhodes on Cody Story, Goldust AEW, working for Tony Khan and Vince McMahon. That was released on the 15th as well, courtesy of the one and only CVV, Chris Van Vliet. So guys, check that out there. Kelly wants to return to the WWE, becoming a mom. Royal Rumble appearance, Divas champion. That was on the 15th as well. That was, I think, officially released on the 11th or 12th. And then YouTube had shut it down, and then they had to put it back up, so to speak. But that was on the 15th officially. Again, that was courtesy of CVV, Chris Van Vliet as well. Continuing on with Chris Van Vliet, he's been busy this week. Wrestling's Power Couple, Johnny Ente on AEW Viral Moments, Lucha Underground. That was on the 16th, courtesy of the one and only Chris Van Vliet. Former WB commentator Carlos Cabrera signs with AEW. That was announced yesterday on the 17th. I didn't realize how long he'd been with the WB. Now, he's way back, I believe, back in the Spanish announce table, the original Spanish announce table days. But he was with the WB for, I think, 30 years or so. And I'm just going to bring up the article here if I have it. I think I do. It's just a matter of finding it. And I cannot find it, so let's just leave it at that. But yeah, Carlos Cabrera officially being signed by AEW. So good for them. He is one of those household names, so to speak. And again, back to the Spanish announce table of the 90s. That's memories right there. 2 title matches added to AEW Dynasty. That was officially as of last night. So you've got the what was it? The Bang Bang Gang, as they call themselves now. It used to be Bullet Club Gold. That's the Bang Bang Gang, which is obviously Jay White and the Guns as the ROH Trios, the 6-man tag team champions, taking on Daddy Ass and the Acclaimed, which are the AEW Trios champions. It was announced today by Tony Khan and Media Call. I'll get to that momentarily there. But that match, so between the Bang Bang Gang as well as the Guns and Billy Gunn, Daddy Ass, is officially titles versus titles, winner take all. And the titles will be officially united. Now, that being said, is it going to be one of those things like the Continental Classic, the Triple Crown, so to speak, where all of a sudden they were joined and then now they're not, so they're all singles titles once again? Or is it going to be one of those things where basically we just have, basically trios titles or 6-man titles? And are they going to call it AEW? Or are they going to call it basically with regards to ROH? So we'll have to wait and see there. But officially that match has been announced. God, do you think of the amount of shows I've done the past 2 weeks? I'll be getting better at this, but anyways. And then the other match has been announced, and this is courtesy of Dynamite, which I'll get into later in the show. Hook defending the FTW championship against the one and only Lionheart, Chris Jericho. So those have been announced as well. Samoa Joe is coming to AEW Fight Forever. I thought he was in the game, but apparently not. World War Joe downloadable DLC downloadable content is available May the 8th. So that is coming up there, guys. This I want to bring up. Ruby Soho, Angelo Parker announced pregnancy at the AEW Rampage taping that was last night. I had no idea because I hadn't been following along with regards to those two there. But apparently they're a real life couple and they've been dating for a while. So Ruby Soho, Angelo Parker announced pregnancy at AEW Rampage taping. It would be the couple's first child. This came out obviously yesterday. Ruby Soho, Angelo Parker expecting their first child. Soho made the announcement in a segment with Parker taped Wednesday night to air on Saturday's AEW Rampage. See, I thought Rampage was going to be live this Saturday, but apparently not. It's been taped. It will just air somewhat live, so to speak. Video of the segment is out there on social media. Soho and Parker's relationship has spilled over to AEW storylines, as Soho and Parker getting together was used as a storyline catalyst for Saraya and Harley Cameron to turn on Soho and disband the Outcast. It goes on to later say, basically, Soho was last in action the February 9th Rampage, taped February 7th. So it looks like it's been a little while, but apparently they're scheduled to get married as well. Some congratulations to Cool Hand Angelo Parker, as well as Ruby Soho on their upcoming marriage, as well as baby on the way. Congratulations. If you have daughters, always smile and nod and try to keep you cool. My 5-year-old tonight, not necessarily in the greatest of moods, but anyways, it is what it is. It's they grew up too quick, and they learned how to figure out their emotions way too late sometimes. But they it's like I said, the 5-year-old was in bad mood just before showtime here tonight. But tomorrow's another day. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, I got little fuzzies all over the place right now. Where are we? Yo pulled from New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of the Super Juniors 31 tournament, so he will not be part of that. That was released today. Great Khan, Yu Uemura could present KOPW stipulations for Road to Taku. I'm going to bring this up because this made me laugh last time around, and it's making me laugh once again. So where are we here? So Rural Revitalization 2 could take place on April 27th. Great Khan, Yu Uemura have chosen stipulations And I'm just looking at this article. I haven't seen him since he got his haircut. He doesn't look too bad. Yu doesn't. And, I remember him obviously with Impact Wrestling back in the day. Two will meet for the Provisional King of KOPW, titled New Japan Pro Wrestling's Road to Dontaku event in Hiroshima on April 27. As per the KOPW rules, the fan vote would determine the set of rules the match is contested under. Great Okan has proposed another Royal Revitalization match involving stipulations excuse me, specifically geared to the city of Hiroshima. Uemura has proposed a catch rules match. So this is what Uemura is proposing. 61, not 60, but 61-minute time limit. Best of 3 falls, catch rules, no strikes allowed, grapples, throws, and submissions only for a pinfall or submission. Great Okan's rules. Royal Revitalization rules. No time limit, best of 3 falls. First fall, Mazda tire carrying contest. Yes, I said that right. Mazda tire carrying contest. Second fall, Hiroshima lemon eating contest. And third fall is a table match. And if you guys remember last month, Okan basically fought, who was it, Tangaloa. And there was supposed to be an eel eating contest, which never happened. But anyways, it's great humor. The Great Okan, you've got Toru Yano over there as well with regards to New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's, they've got their gifted, talented wrestlers, but they also got their comedy as well. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see there. Where are we here? So, from there, Jon Moxley versus Josh Barnett headlines Bloodsport Bushido lineup. That was released today. So, it's going to bring up the article here if I can find out. There we go, right at the top. Imagine that. Event takes place June 22nd in Tokyo. Event scheduled June 22nd at the Ryogoku Koku Geeking in Tokyo. I'll get those names better. Similar to Bloodsport events held in the U.S., Bloodsport Bushido will have shoot-style rules. No ring ropes and matches only ending via knockout or submission. Barnett versus IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley has been announced for the show. Barnett defeated Moxley via referee's decision at Bloodsport 6 in 2021. So there you go, guys. That's going to be a tough contest right there. And like I said, knockout submissions only. So that'll be interesting. From there, Becky Lynch on Ronda Rousey controversy becoming the man, punching Dom in the face. That was today, courtesy of who? Yes, the one and only CVV, Chris Van Vliet. I think that's 4 this week. This guy is on a roll. Now, you got to understand, WrestleMania just took place, so he had a lot of leeway, I think, as far as interviews go. I mean, he always does, but and then all of a sudden with Becky Lynch, he had the book tour that was taking place. So, yeah, good for him. From there, Freddie Prinze Jr., and give us an update on his wrestling promotion. Thinks it's close to finding a home. That came out today as well. Wrestling with Freddie on iHeartRadio. So you guys can go check that out. Apparently, he's had an idea for independent promotion for the past 2 years. He hasn't had any hits. He was part of Premiere, but I don't know how well he was part of Premiere. And then all of a sudden, that just kind of quietly went away. And then he was on, obviously, WB Rivals on A&E, and he just kind of quietly went away from that. So it'd be interesting to see if he comes out with independent promotion. He just said, I think from what I've seen, it's not going to be anything at AEW or WB. It's going to be completely different. But, good for him. He's a wrestling fan, and he used to be a writer at one point. And the passion that he has, good for him. Let's see where he goes with this. Speaking of that, free agent Matt Hardy has been speaking with both AEW and WWE. He turned down the contract with AEW. I don't blame the guy. There was nothing that they were doing with him. It was great to see him premiere come to AEW when all of a sudden the Exalted One, and all of a sudden you saw him up there in the stands, and the Exalted One ended up being Mr. Brody Lee. But they've done nothing with him. And man, if you're gonna have legacy, I mean, he doesn't have, he can't move like he used to, so to speak. And that being said, neither can Jeff. But the fact is, you think legacy, if you're going to end the Hardy story, end it in the WWE. I mean, there's nothing there in AEW unless they're going to try to basically bring up a match between the Hardys and not necessarily the Dudleys. I think Dudleys are WB at this point, but the Hardys, as well as Adam Copeland, Christian Cage. But the fact is it going to be like one of those things where it's like Undertaker and Kane taking on Shawn Michaels and Triple H? You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that final match between, like, say, Edge and Christian, Adam and Christian, taking on the Hardys, but it's not the same. It's just, I mean, to me, Matt Hardy taking a break, seeing what he wants to do, I think is great. I think he's got more leeway with WWE as far as becoming a producer, kind of stuff like that, if he wanted to go that route. Obviously, I mean, he was there apparently celebrating a birthday, whatever the case may be, at Raw when they were in, what was it, Georgia or North Carolina, whatever the case may be. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, it's I think if he's going to end his career, if he's going to tidy up, say goodbye, give up his career in the ring anyways, let it happen WB. So it'll be interesting to see. From there, guys, Matt Cardona undergoes surgery for torn pec. That came out today. So news broke a couple days ago with regards to Cardona. And then finally, it had come out that basically, it was apparently is torn bicep and torn pec. And the torn bicep has been going on for a while, but the torn pec is what they focus on. But it's so weird to say. Indie star Matt Cardona, who one of his last matches, by the way, was here in London, Ontario against Adam Copeland. That was on the Collision show. Is on the mend after undergoing surgery to repair his torn pec. Surgery done. The road to recovery starts now. Cardona tweeted on Thursday, thanks to all who reached out. Thanks to Chelsea Green for being by my side. Cardona's injury happened during a match for Reality of Wrestling last Saturday. Though it will likely keep him out of action for months, Cardona plans on staying busy, still taking bookings for autograph signings and appearances. There's no good time to get injured, but certainly isn't a good time, he wrote. I have to keep moving forward. There's no other option. I can't wrestle, but I'm still available for autograph signings and appearances. Book mattcardona@gmail.com. And hashtag always ready for a comeback. So that's what he goes on to say. So thoughts and prayers, strength for Matt Cardona to get better as soon as possible. And he reinvented himself. He says Zack Ryder had to die for him. Matt Cardona had to be born. So that is something cool. And about a moment ago, officially, according to my time here, TNA Rebellion pay-per-view press conference, 4:20 p.m. PST, so Pacific time, Thursday, April 18th, inside the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas. So apparently, as I'm doing this, there is the contract signing taking place there in Las Vegas, Nevada, for TNA Rebellion taking place live this coming Saturday, which I'll get more into during the show because I got some news at the very end of the show with regards to that. Now we get into topics, and quite a few topics here. So, number one, Jon Moxley completes Global Grand Slam. So if you listen to CWM Predicts New Japan Pro Wrestling Windy City Riot last Friday, you have seen me predict Jon Moxley to win the title, especially because the affiliation AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling have now. And then you throw in Stardom in that mix as well. So yes, and new. So Moxley he looked like he got beat up, but he beat Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He, produced it and, displayed it yesterday on AEW Dynamite, very loud and proud. He's, he cleaned up, obviously, but man, the pictures that came out after that match, blood all over the place, social media, this and that. It was good to see. Them kind of, say, hey, here you go. We're going to give you the title. See where you go with it. He's got upcoming matches taking place. I think Ren Narita, Shota Umino are two on the agenda. But who takes that title off of him? That's going to be interesting to see. And do they do it at Forbidden Door, or did they wait and do it in England? If they did it in England, that would be cool for obviously All Out. I think it's All Out, or is it All In? Is it All In? All In. All Out's in Chicago. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the title. How much it got displayed last night on Dynamite, but how much it gets basically fought for on Dynamite AEW program or whatever the case may be. Speaking of New Japan, sorry, not New Japan, but Japan Promotions, the opposite at this point. Rossy Ogawa announced his launch of Marigold promotion. That was on the 15th. So Rossy Ogawa, formerly affiliated with Stardom. I'm just going to bring up this article here. So, if it loads, yes. First show featuring Julia will take place in May. So Rossy Ogawa has revealed his new promotion. There's a YouTube press conference, by the way. It's on cwonline.ca. You can check it out there. But it was courtesy of Wrestle Universe, so Ogawa was on there. During a press conference Monday morning, Ogawa announced the formation of Dream Star Fighting Marigold, or Marigold for short. First show, Marigold Fields Forever, will take place on May 20th at Corking Hall. Stream on Wrestle Universe will both Japanese and English commentary. The main event will feature Julia and X taking on Sari and X. So I'm guessing X is mystery partner and X is mystery partner there as well. I didn't see the press conference, and I believe it was all in Japan or Japanese, so I wouldn't have been able to understand half of it anyways. But I think it's a mystery partner. Julia on one side and Suri on the other side. That's pretty cool there. So Rossy Ogawa with a new promotion, as they're calling it, just Marigold. Followed up by news that came out today, and this was Rossy Ogawa's Marigold and WWE partnership, Julia's future. No, this actually came out yesterday. And so, because I'm a contributor to WrestlingObserver.com, I've got the privilege, subscriber anyways, as well, to be able to go and read commentary, whether it be Brian Alvarez or Dave Meltzer. And this is courtesy of Meltzer. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But Rossy Ogawa's new promotion called Dream Star Fighting Marigold has the opening press conference this past Monday, and there was a working agreement between the promotion and the WWE. WWE flew both Julia and Ogawa to WrestleMania to make a deal. Obviously, you saw Julia in the crowd with regards to NXT Stand and Deliver. Ogawa is attempting to get Io Sky and Kairi Sane to Marigold for a major show this summer that'll be announced shortly. Will not finalize due to visa issues. Julia is expected to be working for both companies for a time before eventually moving with her family to the U.S. Whether this happens or not, Marigold is expecting to work with the WWE and have Julia appear on a few big shows per year. So that is kind of cool there. Podcast I was listening to earlier today is actually kind of cool because it's like, what happens all of a sudden they bring over Bayley to Marigold? That would be cool. And then bring some of the other Marigold performers over to WWE. Obviously, Julia, not just the NXT Stand and Deliver, she was also part of WrestleMania. She's taking pictures and photos, her and Triple H, everything else. But, it's going to be interesting because she's got that Japanese feel, but she's got that badass feel as well. And when I say that, Io Sky, yes, Asuka, Kairi Sane, they've all got that as well. But she's got a different feel to her, and how she's going to relate to being in the ring, say with a Charlotte Flair, or being in the ring, say with when you think NXT Women's Champions, you think Roxanne Perez right now. And how that's going to play out there. Lyra Valkyria, whether or not she goes against Becky Lynch. Seeing her in the ring with Nia Jax, man, I believe Julia's only tiny. So there's a lot of fantasy booking going on there. But I think she's going to do well. And I can't see her I think she's going to go to NXT, but I can't see her being down at NXT for long. So congrats to Rossy Ogawa. Congrats to Marigold. And congrats for their partnership with the WB and Julia's future as well. Breaking news this past Monday, and this was sad because I'd seen bits and pieces beforehand. Rhea Ripley vacates the Women's World Championship due to injury. So she came out on Raw this past Monday, opened the show, slinging her arm, Adam Pearce in the corner. Obviously, she looked disgruntled. Basically says she has to give up the championship due to injury. Apparently, it was a fluke injury. It was basically a backstage segment that turned into a legit injury between her and Liv Morgan. Morgan apparently, hit her into the wall, whatever the case may be. And then because of that, it was kind of like a freak accident. So anyways, it's looking like a good 4 months at least before we see her back. Now, if she, being the beast that she is, if she rushes things, we could see her back in time for SummerSlam, which I think would be absolutely cool. That being said, it's April, so May, June, July, August, SummerSlam in Cleveland. I think that'd be cool there. Other notes with regards to Raw. So to finalize, they had said, so she laid down the title in the ring, got into a little bit of a battle with regards to Liv Morgan. And if you see me distracted right now, I've got two cats, and one of them is in the kitchen by the cord, and the other is around the corner by the cord. And if I lose internet, I'm going to and I said that, and the cat just kind of looked at me. So hopefully he's tired enough not to do anything. But I yelled at him earlier. So anyways, we'll see. But anyways, So Liv and Rhea got into a little bit of a confrontation. Rhea ends up headbutting one of the security guards, and Liv kind of is being held back by the security guards, and that's all there was to it. So apparently, new champion's going to be crowned this Monday. I haven't seen with regards to who's going to be taking over the championship, what kind of match is going to be, but the fact is, championship, yes, is going to be decided this coming Monday, so they say. Anyways, even though I'm in airplane mode on my phone, I'm still getting notifications regards to, hey, you sit, I've got an Apple Watch, so you sit too much, you stand too much, you whatever the case may be. Anyways, getting distracted very easily here. Sheamus came back on Monday as well, so that was kind of cool to see. And then Chad Gable snapped on Sami Zayn, so we'll be interested to see where we go from here. And apparently Charles Barkley, I think it was Charles Barkley on the Pat McAfee show, said he wasn't a big fan of Chad Gable for doing what he did to Sami Zayn in front of his parents, in front of his wife. So Charles Barkley, not a big fan of Chad Gable. This is interesting here. Report Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin finalizing a deal with AEW. So this was on the 16th. Multi-time tag team champions, multi-time individual champions for TNA Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, and now all of a sudden about to finalize a deal with AEW. I'll get more into this momentarily because it relates to Ontario Independent Wrestling, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. But huge news, and I'll get more into it just in a bit here. NXT results. The reason I bring this up, I crapped on AEW last week. I wasn't a big fan, and it doesn't mean I'm not a fan of AEW. I just didn't like the product that last week. This week, hit and miss. I'll get into it. But that being said, so I watched all of NXT. It was a good show, surprising with regards to Noam Dar winning. Obviously they've moved on with Charlie Dempsey and the D'Angelo family. And I want to say No Catch Crew, but I don't know if I'm getting that confused with something else. But anyways, they're from the sounds of it, Drew Gulak is no longer part of WB or NXT storylines. He's sitting on the bench. I haven't heard anything about releases, but from the sounds of it, No Quarter Catch Crew has paid off the D'Angelo family to take care of Drew Gulak. So that's the way that played out on this past Tuesday. That being said, this is what I was not a fan of. So April 16, 2024, WB NXT results. Trick Williams defeats Carmelo Hayes in a steel cage match. Great topic. A great match from the sounds of it. They fought in a steel cage, the rivalry, whatever the case may be. This is not what I'm a fan of here. Main event starts at 9:52 p.m. Eastern. Carmelo heads to the ring. Trick heads to the ring 9:54. Cage door shuts. And the bell rings at 9:55. Commercial at 9:57. These guys are supposed to be off the air by 10 o'clock. Main event ends at 10:07. WTF. And when I say that, I'm not saying that because, okay, yes, there's overruns. That's just the way it is. I'm a fan of wrestling, okay? I remember back in the days, Monday Night Raw and Nitro and all this sort of stuff. But, man, why would you sit there and go, and we're going to have a steel cage match, still nothing on the line, just bragging rights, okay? Trick Williams wins. That's the end of the delivery. All of a sudden, we have this, this rematch, steel cage match, just kind of out of the blue from last week, where all of a sudden Carmelo's like, yeah, I'm going to meet you in the steel cage next week. They promote this match, and the next thing you know, the match itself doesn't start until 5 friggin' minutes before the show is supposed to go off the air. And it still went off the air 12 minutes after that with a commercial in between. Man, it's like, stop with this booking. Like, you book these main events, and the next thing you know, it's like you give us this garbage. And it's like, how do you expect anybody to enjoy the show? And, those who basically set their PVRs and be like, oh, hey, I'm going to set it straight till 10 o'clock, they missed basically 7 minutes of the match. So I wish they wouldn't do stuff like that. And it wasn't even that great of a match. It was a match. Trick wins again. Trick versus Ilya Dragunov next week. Title versus NXT career, so to speak. But anyways, WTF. And I was like, man, this is stupid. Why would they book things like this? But whatever. They got too much money and not enough brains sometimes. I tell you that much. AEW Dynamite thoughts. Yes, I'm better this week with AEW. So this is the way the show went. Mox promo in the ring, absolutely phenomenal with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Mercedes Moné promo backstage sucked. Then they had Julia Hart and Brody King defeating Willow Nightingale and Adam Copeland. And that was a 50-50 because Willow Nightingale had gotten, basically beat up before the match had started. Basically, it was a 2-on-1, but it was, Julia Hart couldn't come into the ring. So Copeland was in the ring most of the time. It was like a 1-on-1 match with Brody King. Obviously, Julia got involved behind the referee's back. And then obviously Nightingale finally makes her way to the ring. She gets hit with a chain by Julia Hart, choked out, submitted, whatever you want to call it. And then basically at the end of that, Monet comes out to make the quote unquote save. I was thinking about this. I'll share my thought. I'll wait till the end with regards to my thoughts here. Paquette Samoa Joe interview backstage, setting up for the main event this coming Sunday. The Elite defeats the Death Triangle and Daniel Garcia. Surprise. Taz hooked Jericho in-ring segment, which was kind of cool. Jericho kind of laid it into to Taz with regards to, hey, shut up, I'm not done yet. Shut up, I'm not done yet. And all of a sudden he shoves Taz. Taz falls to one knee. Apparently he's dealing with a bad knee, or has been. Hook, who's in the in the corner eating a bag of chips, throws down the chips and basically goes face to face with Jericho, backs him up in the corner, and says, "Hey, I'll fight you anytime, anywhere. Get out of my ring." And basically proceeds to tell Hook to get the hell out of Jericho to get the hell out of his ring. So that being said, they set up a match, which I talked about earlier. So Hook and Jericho, FTW title on the line, which I'm going to predict now. I'm going to do a prediction show, obviously, on Sunday. I'm going to predict now, though, that basically Hook loses that belt to Jericho. That's, call himself the, what was it? Ocho Nuevo. La Nuevo going into Cinco de Mayo. So we had Paquette, Swerve doing an interview backstage. Swerve stands up, says, "Hey, this interview shouldn't really be with you. I'm going to go to the ring and address it later." Purrazzo defeats Mariah May. Basically, Deonna Purrazzo is not getting over in AEW. I feel bad. She's a talented wrestler, sweetheart. And Mariah May obviously is, the Toni Storm knockoff clone, playing up her character well. And I'll leave it at that. So Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa get into a melee after the match and post-match. And then basically Thunder Rosa takes a thing of lipstick and marks up Toni Storm's face. And this all being done in black and white when Toni Storm is being shown, by the way. And then she looks in the mirror and all of a sudden she just kind of freaks out. So yeah, I'm loving Toni Storm's character. It's different. I got to meet her back in 2019, the Toni Storm that basically Mariah May is portraying. But yeah, that being said, it's I'm loving the character. It's so interesting. And man, Thunder Rosa, do not want to mess with that lady ever. She took out Luther last night. My God, like if you want somebody to play in the NFL, and she gives up on wrestling, man, put her in as like a linebacker. Holy crap, she took out Luther. Poor Luther. Shane Taylor defeats OC. So Orange Cassidy, obviously Orange Cassidy, they're playing up. He's got no friends right now. First time in kind of AEW history. Trent had come out and basically played the heel, hit chair shots with regards to, I think it was Matt Sydal, and I forget who the other one was, but Trent's playing the heel. And then, basically Shane Taylor Promotions beat up on Orange Cassidy after the match, draped the flag over top of him. Ospreay defeats Cascanoli in the main event. Good match. Contrast of styles, but it was a very good match between the two. Good to see Ospreay just basically wrestling with a microphone in hand. And then Swerve Joe in-ring segment at the very end. Joe lays him out to go to that fade to black, so to speak, with the pay-per-view coming up this coming Sunday for Dynasty. So that being said, Ospreay, talented individual, obviously being instructed. But fact is, the thing about last week when I was talking about this, Triple H did not name drop. Okay, Triple H did not name drop any names with regards to Will Ospreay and not be able to basically put up with the grind, so to speak. So that's the issue I had with him, because when I was a fan of him with regards to Rev Pro and New Japan Pro Wrestling, it wasn't the guy on the mic, making stupid comments like that. It was basically all his in-ring talent. It was basically him becoming the next Kenny Omega, so to speak. It was him showing the world what he could do. And now he's on the North American level, so to speak, as I call it. And he's doing his thing. And man, I don't want to see him get flaked over. So, Ospreay in the ring, especially against somebody like Cashinoli, who Ospreay has come out and said he is basically the hardest hitter he's ever been in the ring with. Great. But leave him be the arrow assassin. Let him be, the Bruv, so to speak, or Bruv, whatever you want to call it. But let him be Will Ospreay. And, last week, let's just say one off, and let's leave it at that going into the pay-per-view. Obviously against Bryan Danielson, which is a huge match coming up. Can't wait for that one on Sunday. From there, the only thing I'll say about Mercedes Moné, I was thinking about this last night. How good or bad is she going to be at Double or Nothing? Her promos are crap right now. It's like WWE all over again with regards to, hey, I'm going to say this and I'm going to try to get reaction. And it's nothing like that at all. It's like, where's the edge? Where's the Mercedes Moné character? You're like a watered down version of Sasha Banks at this point. And if this is what we get to, I'm not even going to say get treated to every single week, man, going into Double or Nothing, it's going to suck. And with that being said, from the sounds of it, it's going to be Monet, Willow Nightingale for the title on the line. The TBS championship, which a lot of people predicting Willow Nightingale to beat Julia Hart, especially after this past week. I can see it happening. But then all of a sudden, Willow dropping the title to Mercedes Moné, which I don't want to see happening in her first match. I mean, it's bad booking. And it's only one person to blame, and that's Tony Khan. And since all of this has been happening, I'm becoming a bigger fan of the one and only Eric Bischoff, listening to his 83 weeks, listening to basically the stuff that's being, on YouTube with regards to Conrad Thompson and all that sort of stuff. That being said, Eric Bischoff makes I hate, I shouldn't say I hate saying this. I never would have thought I'd ever say this. I never ever thought I'd agree with Eric Bischoff in 2024 with regards to AEW booking, but I do. And it's Tony Khan needs to take a step back and take a step away before all of a sudden AEW doesn't exist anymore. They don't have they should learn from history. Eric Bischoff went to shut down WCW, revamp it, bring it back, new management, new money, all this sort of stuff. It didn't happen, obviously. Tony Khan, and this is all over the place. It's not just me. I vented last week, and was I harsh? Yes. Was I honest? Yes. Was I factual? Pretty much, yes. And when I look on the internet and see some of the major news websites with regards to pro wrestling and mixed martial arts talking about the exact same thing and talking about the same way I feel, man, it's like I went to Forbidden Door last year, and I loved it. And the amount of talent I saw, I will probably never get to see again on one single show. And that was courtesy of AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then to know New Japan Pro Wrestling didn't want to do, Forbidden Door, Arthur Ashe Stadium, because they didn't want to put up the cost this year. That there's so many avenues you can take with regards to that being said. But you know what? I'll leave it at that. I hope they get better. I hope they get better. And to follow that up, AEW Dynamite ratings last night, 762,000. Last week was 819, down 7%. Last year, they were 866. Okay, 866,000 this time last year. So, third lowest audience of 2024. They had a 0.26 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, down 13.3% from last week. Ties third lowest rating in the demo for 2024. And if that's not bad enough, 22 weeks in a row, they're down year over year. That is not a good sign. 22 weeks in a row, they're down year over year. They can brag about certain things like, oh, hey, we had over 850,000 people for that, the all-in segment that they had done last week. And then this stuff again this week, 762. Go home show for for AEW Dynasty. I'll leave it at that. I want to see them get better. I mean, it's healthy, it's competition. Someplace else, these guys can work. I want to see it get better. That's all I'm going to say about that. Speaking of getting better, Oklahoma Athletic Commission issues warning to AEW over Nyla Rose match. So this was the 17th. So this was yesterday this came out. And that being said, it is where are we here? So I'm going to bring this up here. This is kind of made me sick. So Oklahoma Athletic Commission issues warning to AEW over Nyla Rose match. Rose responded to the warning on social media. Oklahoma State Athletic Commission has warned AEW about having, Nyla Rose compete against cisgender women in the state. According to minutes from the SAC's meeting from January, the commission voted to warn AEW about having Rose, who is a transgender woman, wrestle cisgender women in the state, or there will be punitive action made against them. Promotion held its first ever event in the state on December 20th for a Dynamite Rampage event. Rose defeated Alexandra Leon in a match that aired on ROH television. They go on to say basically crap. And when I say that, it's people have a choice in 2024 who they want to be. People have a choice in 2024 how they want to act, who they want to be, and how they want to present themselves. And Nyla Rose has been a part of AEW since the beginning, as far as I understand, as far as I know. And for this Oklahoma Athletic Commission in 2024 to have that kind of attitude takes me back to the days of Ontario Indy and the OAC, the Ontario Athletic Commission, and the fact that they had so many fights with so many promoters and Lufisto and all this sort of stuff. Nyla Rose wants to wrestle, and I listened to a podcast earlier today. Let her wrestle. It's scripted. It's like a performance, okay? It's not like she's going to MMA or pro boxing, whatever the case may be. And for them to come down and say, hey, they're going to issue punitive damages against AEW, That is crap, and that has no business in 2024. So Nyla Rose, I respect you, and I hope, and she did say a few things on social media. I hope she gets past this, and I hope, basically AEW takes a look, and maybe they don't run Oklahoma anymore, regardless of JR being from there. But I hope they don't run Oklahoma anymore, and basically, make a stance and be like, hey, you know what? We're not bringing our show to your state anymore, if that's the way you want to be, and protect Nyla Rose. Don't sit there and not take her side. I would say AEW, Tony Khan, protect Nyla Rose with regards to this. It'd be interesting to see the dry through, excuse me, the follow-up that comes from this there. Nick Khan, future WB WrestleManias won't go against NCAA Final Four. That came out today as well. Basically, in a nutshell, they're thinking about changing some things with regards to WrestleMania. So not competing against the Final Four, whether it be Saturday, Sunday, or the Monday. If they're going to run shows, they're going to run it earlier in March, later potentially in the year, not on the East Coast. Apparently, there's a lot of people. Now, this goes all the way back to New Jersey. Back, I think it was 33. It might have been, but WrestleMania 40 takes place 2 nights in Philadelphia. Philly comes out and says, "Hey, come back to Philadelphia. We'll welcome WrestleMania back, no problem at all." And sure enough, it's being talked about that they're about to run Minnesota for WrestleMania 41. That hasn't come out. There's talks about them going to Las Vegas for WrestleMania 41. That is being talked about, but hasn't been announced. And I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they're saying that with regards to WrestleMania, usually at this time in the year, we know where WrestleMania is taking place next year. People are starting to plan travel packages and start putting money away and this and that. And WrestleMania hasn't been announced, even though apparently there was a video package that was out there ready to be released. And all of a sudden, Nick Khan kind of said, no, we're not pulling the trigger yet. So expect changes with regards to WrestleMania, whether it be later or earlier in the year and not necessarily on the East Coast. They also announced that the 5 big PLEs are going to be taking place in the U.S. and Canada. That being Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Money in the Bank, and anything else they may look at international audience for. So they've run Puerto Rico with regards to Backlash. They're running, what is it? Is it Backlash again? I think it's Backlash again, taking place in France. Obviously, Money in the Bank's taking place in Canada. Was it SummerSlam's taking place in Ohio? So it's going to be interesting. There's change coming, but I think it's a good change. And if Canada is being involved, then great. And if they're looking at stadium shows, I'd love to see them run Rogers Center again, especially with the renovations. I haven't been there since the renos, but I'd love to see the renos, be part of a new WrestleMania, so to speak. Anyways, wishful thinking, but that is the way it is. And that, change is coming. So WrestleMania maybe later or earlier next year. And with all the, TKO and the UFC and the affiliations WB has now, I'm going to predict right now WrestleMania 41 takes place 2 nights in Las Vegas, and SmackDown and Raw are able to run this what they call it, the Sphere. I think that's pretty cool there. Finally, with regards to notes, with regards to topics, AEW Dynasty 2024 media call with Tony Khan that is up right now. CWOnline.ca. He confirms AEW Trios and ROH 6-man titles to be unified at Dynasty. He goes on to talk about other things, CM Punk, basically the backstage footage, all this sort of stuff. So guys, check that out. CWOnline.ca. AEW Dynasty 2024 media call with Tony Khan that was sent to me earlier today by the one and only All Elite Wrestling. Preview tonight for Impact Wrestling taking place about 10 minutes from now. We've got the System taking on the Motor City Machine Guns for the titles. Nick Nemeth promo, Hammerstone taking on Guido. Yes, the one and only Guido. And Rosemary taking on Jody Threat. Friday Night SmackDown preview for tomorrow. The only thing I've seen is Styles versus LA Knight #1 contenders match. Winner goes on to Backlash France to fight Cody for the title. AW Collision Rampage live preview. This is taking place on Saturday. So we get Danielson, Cashinoli, the BCC taking on Takeshita, as well as Kyle Fletcher, Bunkhouse Brawl, the day before. And this is going to be live, by the way. So the day before Dynasty. So that'll be interesting there. The Elite and the FTR. So the Elite takes on FTR and Pac. The Acclaim takes on the Guns. Copeland, Briscoe, and Kingston take on Top Flight and Andretti. And then, of all things, RVD in action on 420. Yes, that is not a typo. Upcoming PLE pay-per-view special events. We got TNA Wrestling Rebellion 2024 taking place in Las Vegas, Nevada, 8 o'clock p.m. That is on Saturday. Triller TV, TNA Plus, YouTube. AEW's Dynasty 2024, St. Louis, Missouri, 8 o'clock p.m. Bleacher Report, pay-per-view, Triller TV, and YouTube. That is on the 21st on Sunday. 29th, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestling Satsuma no Kuni 2024 in Kagoshima, Japan, 4 a.m. on New Japan Pro Wrestling World. The third is, May 3rd, Wrestling Dontaku 2024, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Fukuoka, Japan, 5 a.m., New Japan Pro Wrestling World. TNA Wrestling Under Siege, so another TNA Wrestling coming up, event coming up. This is on the 3rd as well. So Under Siege 2024, which took place in London, Ontario last year, not happening this year. Albany, New York, 8 o'clock p.m. TNA Plus, Triller TV Plus, YouTube for Ultimate Insiders. We got Backlash 2024 France taking on Lyon, France, 1 o'clock p.m. Peacock WB Network. That is on the 4th. Finally, on the 4th, we got UFC 301, Pantoja taking on Urseg, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 10 o'clock p.m. on pay-per-view, UFC Fight Pass, as well as YouTube. So that is on the 4th as well. This is something I'm going to start doing because I enjoy these guys. Took a break for a bit, but I'm a fan of these guys. So I'm going to bring this up here. So there you go, guys. This is, I'm going to get rid of my name and this. So yeah, so LWA live wrestling auctions, live signing. This is Saturday, April the 20th, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. Facebook.com/LWA live wrestling auctions with the one and only Nasty Boys. So Brian Knobs and Jerry Saggs. So JF Leduc as well as Joe McCosey. We'll be doing a live wrestling auctions at LWA signing with the Nasty Boys. It's pretty cool. I love these guys. I mean, they should have their own YouTube show with regards to just they go to a lot of shows and conventions. And I know JF used to be a wrestler. I'm not sure Joe McCosey, what he's done as far as wrestling goes. But I know, huge fans. I love their shows when they do the LWAs. I've spent couple $100 with them on memorabilia and stuff like that, but thank you to them. But fact is, when it comes down to it, they just have hype. And I know they go to shows to get a lot of autographs and this and that. I'd love to see like a YouTube series where they're just kind of sitting in the car filming and just kind of commenting on certain things and this and that. Kind of like, I think Jerry Seinfeld had done it with Coffee and Cars or whatever the case may be. Just having a conversation, but WWE had done it. I forget what it used to be called, but you'd see them leave the arena, and the next thing you know, they'd be in the car together, and they'd just be kind of chatting and whatever the case may be. But anyways, again, live wrestling auctions, LWA is Saturday, April the 20th, 420, taking place live 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. That again, Facebook.com/LWA live wrestling auctions for the Nasty Boys. Brian Knobs and Jerry Saggs signing anything that I think you have with regards to the Nasty Boys or anything that you want to have signed by them. Get in touch with them. Get in touch with JF, LWA live wrestling auctions with regards to Facebook. So there I am. I'm back. So I'm going to have a small drink of water. Normally, in the past, I have played clips. I have no clips to play with regards to taking a break, but I'm going to work on that. But I'm going to have a small drink of water. Much better. And I'm 52 minutes into the show. I don't think I'm going to be off in time for Impact Wrestling, but TNA Impact as they call it now, but PBR. Anyways, upcoming Canadian Mixed Martial Arts, BTC 24 Apex Central Arena in Burlington, Ontario. Take place on June 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern. June 8th as well. Fight League Atlantic 15. Zatzman Sportsplex in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, 7 o'clock p.m. Atlantic time. The 14th of June, Unified 57 at Rebel Entertainment Complex, Toronto, Ontario, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern, as well as the 14th of June as well. Yes, a double show, 2 cities, not simultaneous, but back-to-back. Unified MMA 58. River Cree Resort and Casino, Edmonton, Alberta, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So, guys, check that out there. So, a list of upcoming Canadian indie wrestling events, and then I'll go into some topics here. So, Crossbody Pro Wrestling Uproar Season 3, Tapings 3, Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy in Cambridge, Ontario. That's taking place tomorrow, the 19th at 8 o'clock p.m. 19th as well, Loot AEW Supercharged 15th at Center Multifunctional, Michelle Simard, in Saint Fulgence, Quebec. I want to say pronounce that right. 8 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, 19th as well. NSW Make 'em Wait at Hague Bowl Arena in St. Catharines, Ontario, 8 o'clock p.m. tomorrow as well. RCW Collision Course, Royal Canadian Legion, number 275, Calgary, Alberta, on at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 19th as well. So tomorrow, Red Rock Wrestling presents Red Rock Rumble at Charlottetown East Links Center, Charlottetown, PEI, at 7 o'clock p.m. Atlantic Time. The 20th, Capital City Wrestling presents Capital Clash 19 Breaking Limits, Fredericton Exhibition Center, 1 hour from where I was born, good old St. John. This is in Fredericton, New Brunswick, 6:30 p.m. Atlantic Time. The 20th as well, ECP, and this has been talked about this week, and I'll tell you why. So ECPW Coal Town Carnage 2024, New Waterford District Community Center, New Waterford, Nova Scotia, 6 p.m. Atlantic Time. Followed up by Erick Rowan cancels indie date due to new contractual commitments. This came out on the 14th. So ECPW had made a statement with regards to Erick Rowan not being able to show up. And then it caught basically fire as far as the news sites went. So Fightful, I think, picked it up. Wrestling Observer definitely had picked it up. But Erick Rowan cancels indie dates due to new contractual commitments. What those new contractual commitments mean, it's going to be interesting to see. And I don't think I mentioned this last week. I think I mentioned on one of the prediction shows, but with Bo Dallas and Taylor Rotunda, obviously Braun Strowman, if they do finally do the Wyatt Six, you got Uncle Howdy, you've got Erick Rowan, you can put Alexa Bliss in there. She's ready to come back. You can put Liv Morgan, who's had a heel turn, bring her into the group as well. And then I think at one point, there was one point in time that they had said LA Knight was going to be part of this as well. LA Knight, I think, had the last PLE match with Bray Wyatt. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be it's interesting couple months. I know Extreme Rules, I believe, is right around the corner. And I think I said it on the prediction show. But, guys, I am excited about this. But Erick Rowan cancels indie date, which is ECPW Coal Town Carnage for new contractual commitments. So, yes, this will be interesting to see. Luke JCW presents Bad Time 6. That is at St. Francois in Jonquière, Saginaw, Quebec, at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Crossbody Pro Wrestling, When the Smoke Clears, Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy, Cambridge, Ontario, 7 o'clock p.m. That is on the 20th. The Luke JCW is on the 20th as well. 20th as well, CWE Live in Amaranth in memory and honor of Maggie Roulette. Amaranth Memorial Hall in Amaranth, Manitoba, 7 o'clock p.m. That is Central Time. That's on the 20th as well. 20th as well is Generation Next, All In, Center Horizon, Quebec City, Quebec, 8 o'clock p.m. 20th as well, RCW Live, Erskine Curling Rink in Erskine, Alberta, 7 o'clock p.m. The 20th as well, ASW presents West Coast Open Weight Tournament at the Alice McKay Building in Surrey, BC, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, and that is the last date on the 20th. Followed by a couple dates on the 21st, RCW Rads Volution at Radway Agricultural Center in Radway, Alberta, 4 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time on the 21st. 21st as well, Battle War Over the Top, Fufun Electric in Montreal, Quebec, 8 o'clock p.m. on the 21st. 21st as well, Big Rest in Falkland, Chapter 2, Falkland Community Hall of Falkland, BC, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific. And then the 24th is NSPW, which is a Wednesday, Pro Wrestling Academy, Graduation 6, Center Horizon, Quebec City, Quebec, 8 o'clock p.m. on the 24th. Some of the stuff I didn't talk about, too, in particular, is this right here. One I'll go more into depth with, but this I was referring to earlier. So the 21st, which is this coming Sunday, same day as Dynasty, Smash Wrestling, Riot the Music Hall, London, Ontario, 5 o'clock p.m. Free AEW Dynasty 2024 after party at Winks. Winks is a good bar here in the city. So if you're here in London, you're at that show with regards to Smash Wrestling. Even if you're not at this show, just head down to Winks after the show and catch AEW Dynasty 2024 for free, courtesy of Smash Wrestling and Winks. But the report that came out, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin finalizing deal with AEW. This show on Sunday with regards to London, with Smash Wrestling, is supposed to feature Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley of the Motor City Machine Guns. That being said, Dynasty is too huge of a pay-per-view, I believe, in this point, with those tag titles being vacant, ladder match taking place, Young Bucks on one side, FTR on the other side. This is the fourth match between the two. This will be the Young Bucks' third championship run with regards to AEW. That being said, I cannot see, and I hate saying this, Tony Khan letting the Motor City Machine Guns do an indie show, whether or not be London, Ontario, London, England, whatever the case may be, going into Dynasty. I see those two guys, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, making their presence known in St. Louis, Missouri this coming Sunday for whoever wins those titles to maybe just come at the end of the match, stare them down, and you basically, excuse me, know where it's going. That being said, you also don't want to take that injury risk. So if you've got the Motor City Machine Guns on basically wanting to finalize or maybe have finalized at this point their contracts, because this has come out on the 16th, it's now 2 days later, and you got AEW Dynasty taking place on Sunday. I hate to say it, and as much as I wanted to go to the Smash show to be able to see the Motor City Machine Guns, I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be a cancellation notice that's going to come up by Smash Wrestling either tonight or tomorrow, possibly even Saturday as well. Hopefully it's before the show, but I'm going to say because of the contractual obligations of the Motor City Machine Guns towards AEW, and especially AEW Dynasty on Sunday, especially that huge tag match, I'm going to say Motor City Machine Guns do not show up here on London, Ontario on Sunday. If I'm wrong, that is phenomenal for the guys and the people here in London, Ontario, of course. But I'm going to say 99%. I think I'm right about that one there. So we'll have to wait and see. Somebody who will not be in the ring this coming Sunday is the one and only Nikita, unable to compete at Riot at the Hall due to an extended delay in her recovery from recent injury. That said, Nikita will be in attendance on Sunday and is in Silesia Sparks' corner and will now be a three-way championship match courtesy of Smash Wrestling. Came out today on Facebook on the 18th with regards to Facebook as well. I think Instagram as well. This is something that needs to be talked about. And it's I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I don't know the backstory about it. I just know it's not good. Courage Pro Wrestling presents our Anniversary Armageddon at Germania Club of Hamilton, Ontario. Supposed to be 7:00 p.m. on the 21st on Sunday. So it started with, due to a family emergency, his son has COVID. Thoughts, prayers, and strengths if that's the case. Jay Bougie will no longer be able to appear this Sunday at Courage Pro for a scheduled tag team match with Pretty Boy Smooth, taking on Dan Nachi as well as Hayden Backlund. That was on the 17th, courtesy of Courage Pro on Facebook. Then today, and sorry, not today, yesterday as well, due to unfortunate circumstances, I will not be at CPW this Sunday or in the foreseeable future. That was on the 17th. That was courtesy of Tyler Arrow on Facebook. Then yesterday, statement from Courage Pro Wrestling. This is a message from the owners of Courage Pro Wrestling, Joshua Ramelzwal, I want to pronounce your last name right, and Justin Coleman. It's with heavy hearts that we announce effective immediately. We have made the very difficult decision to suspend operations until further notice. Courage Pro Wrestling owners, myself and Justin, would like to thank all the fans that ever attended the show over the last roughly 7 years and all the wrestlers that graced a ring for us over the years. That we appreciate every single one of you. And that was a statement made by them. When you go into the comments section, and I saw people I'm friends with on Facebook talk about it, I'm not going to mention names at all, but the fact is, it doesn't look like a good situation. It looks like a situation that Courage Pro had known about for over 2 years at this point, did absolutely nothing about it, and now all of a sudden the promotion has fallen apart. I don't know the details. I don't know what's speculation, what's not. I just know if you had bad publicity coming your way 2 years ago and you did absolutely nothing about it, this isn't surprising. I feel bad as a fan here in Ontario with regards to Canadian independent wrestling, of course, because there's now no longer another place for these guys and girls to go, men and women to go to work. But the fact is, if a promotion like this existed, maybe it's not some place you wanted to go to work. And I'll leave it at that. But, you can check it out. Courage Pro Wrestling, still on Facebook. Check out the comments. Decide for yourself. But, it's a sad situation right there. Good situation, though. Upcoming Hammerlock dates taking place. So May the 4th, Stratford, Ontario, Star Wars Day taking place. So looking forward to. Oh, yeah, and I forgot all about this. Hold on a second. I've got graphics tonight. So I'm going to get rid of this, do this. I learned how to do this properly. So where are we? There we go. So I'll do this. with my notes and the screens. I got to flip the screens. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So Stratford, Ontario, Star Wars Day, May the 4th. Posted there on the left-hand side. You can see that there. Doors open at 6, bell time at 7. Jobs Out Brewing Company at Stratford, Ontario. Tickets are only $25. Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you there. So that is in Stratford, Ontario. Coming up on the right-hand side there, you can see a poster. Saturday, May 25th. I've been to both of these venues. Very unique venues, by the way. So Saturday, May 25th, you got St. Thomas, Ontario, Elgin County Railway Museum. That is taking place. Bell time, 7 o'clock p.m. Doors open at 6. The two venues themselves, probably some of the best I've ever been to. The Railway Museum, it's a very unique setup, especially when you get a wrestling ring and all those trains in the background, this and that. So if you haven't seen it, definitely, if you're in the St. Thomas area, definitely check that out. Guys, from there, we go into the next 2 dates for Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. We've got Clinton, Ontario on June 15th. That is courtesy of the Stratford Fighting Irish. You can see the poster on the left-hand side. Doors at 6, bell time at 7, East Link Arena in Clinton, Ontario. Tickets $25 through frontdoor.plus. I believe all the tickets you can get available there. All of this for being filmed, by the way, for Rogers TV, for those that don't know. Followed by the 16th, so back-to-back dates. The first of 2 back-to-back dates, by the way. So next day, live wrestling, Sunday, June 16th. This is, I believe it's free. No tickets at all because it's part of the London Children's Festival at Victoria Park here in London, Ontario. So the 16th, June 16th, Sunday, June 16th. Yeah, I can say how many times did I say June 16th? Anyways, live wrestling taking place Victoria Park here in London, Ontario. Children's Festival, and there's 2 shows. So show 1 taking place 2 p.m. and show 2 taking place at 4 p.m. and family-friendly atmosphere as far as Hammerlock Pure Wrestling goes. So check that out there, guys. Take your kids as well. I might actually take my daughter to this. It's I've been telling her about wrestling, and she knows Sean, and she knows Sean's promotion, and she went to the Western Fair last year and she got to see it, but she didn't really get to see much to it. But the kids thing plus wrestling, heck yeah. I just put that together right now. Yeah, she will probably be in attendance. So so that's June 16th once again. My voice is crapping out on me. And then followed by Saturday, July 27th, London, Ontario. They're back. German-Canadian Club. They were just there this past weekend. I saw some of the pictures. Looked like they had a good show. 5 o'clock bell time for them. And tickets, again, I believe $30 this time. Frontdoor.plus or buy in person at to be announced. So sure that Sean has got places he's going to be able to try to put tickets through, and that is cool there. And followed by the 28th, which is Tillsonburg, Ontario, Tillsonburg Community Center, 40 Hardy Avenue, Tillsonburg, Ontario. Tickets $30. The front door again, or buy in person at loading screen. Sean's got to work on his poster. He's gotten, I tell you this, he's gotten a lot better at his graphics. He's got a lot better at his graphics, but little things, and that's the partial OCD in me that kind of drives me nuts. And then from there, I will go back to here, and I will go back to here, here, and here. I'm getting better at this. That's what happens when you're episode 11. And finally, show that I didn't have a poster for, but is August 31st, St. Thomas, Ontario, back at the Elgin County Railway Museum. Probably that'll be the final show for St. Thomas for the year because it's a seasonal shutdown for them. So again, May 25th, St. Thomas, as well as August 31st, St. Thomas as well. Similar dates last year. I know I was there on my birthday on June 2nd last year, and I know I was there for an August date last year as well. But guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 big shows coming up for Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. Followed up by this. Upcoming Smash Wrestling dates. I mentioned this last week. I'm going to mention it again. Speaking of my birthday, June 2nd, Smash Wrestling, the Northern Tournament 2024. This wouldn't be basically, I shouldn't say basically, this wouldn't be the first time I was at a Smash Wrestling show on my birthday. So I've been at a Hammerlock Wrestling show on my birthday. I was at a WWF show the night before my birthday. I got to see Demolition taking on the Twin Towers, I think was the main event, the London Gardens. That was 89, I want to say it was. But I got to see a Smash Wrestling show. I got to meet Ultimo Dragon. There's a picture on cwnonline.ca, by the way, you can check out. Meet Ultimo Dragon. That was the night. So that was June 1st of 2018 because my daughter had just been born. And then the next night I got to see them again. That was my birthday. So June 2nd, I saw a Smash show, and it was the Northern Tournament back then as well. So yeah, so they're doing it again, but this time in London, Ontario at the London Music Hall. I will probably, definitely, most likely try to be there, but we'll have to wait and see how much sushi I eat because it's it'll be a sushi birthday. I tell you that. So Smash Wrestling Northern Tournament. 2024, London, Ontario, on the 2nd of June. July 2024, Smash Wrestling July fundraiser event to be announced in London, Ontario. I'm getting tired. As well as August 18th, Smash Wrestling Super Showdown 9, London Music Hall, London, Ontario. I've went to a Super Showdown event in Toronto, but I don't believe one ever here in London. I've been to a few Canusa's here in London. Those are kind of cool. They're Western Fairgrounds, though. But yeah, guys, Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, Smash Wrestling, as well as Independent Wrestling here in Canada. Check out those dates if you can. Lots happening this weekend, lots happening throughout the summer. And, I'm getting back in the habit of doing this, so you will hear me talk about Canadian independent wrestling on a regular basis, especially on the Throwdown Chris Maloney, episode number 11, 12, 13, and all the way through 100, if we can make it that far. So I'll leave it at that. Alexi Nicole returns to talk Being a Pillar, Downtime, her trip to the UK, and more. That was on the 17th. Straight Talk Wrestling, that's STT, but Straight Talk Wrestling should be STW, with George Mackay, of course. And then Tyler Turva on his first championship, learning from mistakes, training properly in pro wrestling. Part 1 of 2, by the way, and that is Wrestling is Life is Wrestling, with the one and only Cody Diener. And that came out today on YouTube, as well as all your podcast links there. And speaking of podcast links, if you go to cwnonline.ca, you can check out, if you go to TV Online, there is now a podcasting section. So there's one. So if you go to it, just links, but one specifically for Canadian wrestling podcasts. You can see platforms listed there. You can see awards that they give out. You can see, International Podcast Day, when that day is. But, I was thinking, podcasting has come a long way. There's a lot in Canada. And by the way, if you have a podcast and it's Canadian wrestling based, send me a message at Chris Maloney CW on Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be, or Chris at cwnonline.ca, and let me know, and I'll add your link to it. But, I feel it's important, especially nowadays. I remember when I first started doing podcasts, 2006. Yes, a long time ago, 18 years ago, and everything was just audio based. It was all just audio based, and now it's audio and video. Like, obviously you can see me on video, you can listen to me on audio as well, but you have the ability to go on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, or I think even X or TikTok. Even I think you can do all that sort of stuff. But if you just want to do the old school audio, you can do that on Spotify or Apple or SoundCloud. Whatever the case may be. But yeah, guys, podcasting, I love it. I'm getting back used to it, and it's sometimes exhausting. I can't believe I went over an hour tonight, but yeah, I did it, and I'll look at different formats as well. Speaking of podcasting, CWM predicts TNA Wrestling Rebellion 2024 live this Saturday, April 20th, 3:00 p.m. Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So 2 days from now, I'll be doing a live prediction show with regards to TNA Wrestling Rebellion 2024. CWM predicts AEW Dynasty 2024 live on Sunday, this coming Sunday, April 21st, 3:00 p.m. on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. That will be live depending if I go to the Smash show. If I'm at the Smash show, it will not be a live show. It will be pre-recorded, but you still get to see at 3:00 p.m. Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. The Throwdown Chris Maloney episode number 12 next week sometime, most likely Thursday or Friday. We'll have to wait and see. But that I want to be able to do. So episode number 12 next week. And then live recap. Yes, live recap of TNA Wrestling Rebellion 2024. Follow along with me on Saturday. So the 20th, of course, on the WrestlingObserver.com. So WrestlingObserver.com, I will be doing the live recap on the website for TNA Wrestling Rebellion 2024 from 8 o'clock till 11:30, whenever it goes to. But I'll be typing along, and you can be watching my recap as I go. You can follow the show together, but it looks like it's going to be a great show. You've got a huge main event there with Moose as well as Nick Nemeth. And lots, I think 9 or 10 matches in total from the last time I saw, including some pre-show matches, some freebies there on YouTube, as well as I think they still do Facebook. Not sure, but I know they do it on YouTube because I just got the link today. So yeah, check that out. And then CWO interview. So I've been thinking about what is missing from this show. If I'm doing this show, what is missing from the show I want to be able to do again? What can I bring back? And the thing is, I've done 2 CWN interviews. I did one with George Mackay and one with the one great Greg Oliver, and those are both during the pandemic. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm starting to get the itch to be able to do interviews again, but to me, they have to be interviews where not necessarily everybody is doing, and they have to be like half an hour to 45 minutes to an hour, good in-depth interviews. You know what I mean? Chris Van Vliet's without being Chris Van Vliet, but my name is Chris. So yeah, it kind of goes along. The fact is, when it comes down to it, it's like, I might start looking at doing interviews. I have an idea of who I want to be able to bring onto the show, and it's going to be different from basically all the other interviews that you see. But without rambling too much, yes, I'm thinking about doing interviews. So you'll be basically seeing an hour and a half of this show, or you'll be seeing CW an interview come back as an individual, or maybe I'll do a split, do like a 30-30 split, whatever the case may be. Because most of these shows I like to do an hour. So yeah, maybe I'll do a 30-30 split there. So guys, that is it for episode number 11. As always, check me out at Chris Maloney, CW on Reddit, Instagram, Threads, as well as X. Chris at cwonline.ca with regards to my email address there. And guys, it's been an enjoyable show. Lots to talk about, of course. I will be back next week with a lot more to talk about. Check me out on Saturday with CWN Predicts with regards to TNA. Sunday with regards to CWN Predicts with regards to AEW. And then follow along on WrestlingObserver.com on Saturday night with me doing Rebellion, the recap there. So guys, thank you very much, as always, for watching and listening. And it's been a long one, but I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the hits, the stats, as well as the websites at cwonline.ca. I'll release those next week, by the way, because I thought it was cool. I looked into it. My wife was like, wow, that's kind of neat. So I'll talk about that next week. But guys, that is it for another show. Thank you very much for watching and listening, as always. And I will talk to everybody again sometime soon.